Today, we're going to talk about credit. Um, and this is something that I don't believe anybody told me about when I was younger. They may have, and I might not have paid attention. I don't know, but your credit is very important. They There are three credit bureaus. I think Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. And they give you scores ranging from 350, which is really bad, to 850, which is really good. There are different types of credit scores, and they call them FICO scores. Um, but I'm just gonna keep this general. Um, so 350 really bad, 850 really good. So they basically that score, that's what lenders look at, and employers, a lot of people look at that to determine your credit worthiness, like whether or not to lend you money, or whether or not to hire you, or whether or not they're going to give you this apartment or not, or or whether or not you can get this loan for this car, whether or not you can uh, get a line of credit for your business. It's a lot of things that depend on your credit. And when I was younger, I I thought that since I didn't have any credit, I didn't have a credit card, I didn't have a car note, I didn't have anything. Um, I thought that that meant that I had good credit, and so, um, and that's you know, it's not bad credit, but it's also not good credit either. It's just neutral credit. It's basically no credit, um, because they don't know whether or not they can't tell whether or not to lend you money because they don't have a history of how you have repaid that money in previous uh, lending experiences with other lenders. So the first thing you need to do is check your credit to see what it actually is, and you can do that. You could, you know, uh, go to Credit Karma. Oh, I didn't spell that right. CreditKarma.com, and fill out your information, and then they'll give you. You can see an estimate of of your 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 score, your FICO scores for TransUnion and Experian, I think. But generally in each bureau, you're gonna have a different FICO score. But because all of them, everybody doesn't report to it. Like every business doesn't report to all three. Some of them might report to two. Some of them only report to one. So it'll vary. And usually lenders look at your average, like your middle score. And so first, you got to see where you are. Now, if your credit is under 500, then there's a lot of room for improvement. So what you don't want to do is pay your bills late. You need to pay them on time. Easiest way to pay them on time is, like, if it's credit cards, just set it up for automatic payments to pay whatever you can, like whether it's the minimum or whether it's the full balance. Usually, if you're struggling a little bit, you might have to pay the minimum or a little bit over the minimum. But put it on auto pay so you never forget. Put as many of your bills on auto pay as possible, and make sure you have money in your account to you know to for the payment to go through when it happens. So if you do that, you really don't have to remember all your bills and your due dates, whatever. You know it's covered already if it's on auto pay. Um, so the you have to you have to apply for credit cards, or you have to apply for loans or car loans, whatever. And the limits are going to be low at first. If you have no credit card, you can. Capital One is really good for this, and a lot of other companies have it, but they have secured credit cards, which is like uh, you give them $1,000 and they give you a credit card with $1,000 limit. So basically, you gave them your money so they can give you credit. So no matter what, they already know you can pay it because they have your money already, basically. So, but because of that, and then and then you use it, you charge stuff on it, whatever, you pay it off, you build up a relationship with that company, and eventually they'll give you an unsecured um, credit card, or it might not be that company, but it might be another one. So you just have to start slowly and build things up. And once you have a history of paying things on time, then other people will be more likely to lend you money or give you extend credit to you, or just trust you in general with money. So, but you can't go wild or you can't overdo applying for things, because every time you apply for a credit card or a car loan or a line of credit or whatever, that um, makes your credit score go down temporarily also. So it kind of looks to them like you desperate, like you need the money. So like that you're in a state of need, so that, you're looked at as higher risk. And, the weird thing about it is that, you know, I've found in my experiences that banks or lenders, they like to lend you money when you don't need it. When you need it, then they really don't like to lend you money, because they feel like, in my head, I think they think, well, if you mismanage your money to the point that you need to borrow money, then what's the likelihood of you, if we give you money, then what's the likelihood of you managing that right and being able to pay it back? I mean, in their heads, I think they think that's low. So they don't want to give you money then. So when you don't need money, that's a sign that you manage money well to financial institutions. So it's less risk to loan money out to you. So yeah, pay your bills on time. Don't go crazy uh, applying for a lot of credit cards at once, and or car loans or all of that. Um, and it's just gonna take a little bit of time, because your length of credit matters too. So if you're starting from the beginning, is 2-3 years of you getting little credit cards here, little credit cards there, secured credit cards, unsecured credit cards, uh, maybe even a loan from a bank, installment loan for whatever, $1,000 here and there, and make sure you pay everything back um, on time, no late payments. I did this by accident, but I, um, I would get a loan, a small loan, at a car lot, which I'll talk about that later too. Not the best thing to do is get a loan at the car dealership through their people. Not the best idea usually. But anyway, I would get a loan for $7,000-8,000 car, and then I would have it for a year maybe, and then I would go trade it in, um, and get another loan for maybe a $10,000 car, and I kept going doing that until I was getting the cars that I wanted, and no late payments on none of the car payments that whole time. But every time I traded the car in, it would get paid off. So it looked like, I mean, I guess technically I was paying it off. I was losing money because they were giving me less money than the car was worth when I sold it to the dealership, but at least they were paying off the car. So it looked like I had like a lot of paid off cars. Well, it didn't look like I had a lot of paid off cars on my credit. So, you know, it looks to lenders like, oh, this guy, he's paying off his debt. He's paying off his loans. So if he doesn't pay it off five, then we're pretty sure he's going to pay off the next one we give him. So, and they kept increasing the amount, and I wasn't paying the cars off of my money. Actually, I was just letting them buy it back. But it still looks like I paid it off of my credit. So that's a little shortcut to building credit faster. Um, but yeah, pay your bills on time. Um, you have to have credit. Um, like you have to have like debt to have a credit profile. Um, so you have to have credit cards. You have to have car loans. You have to have mortgages. You have to have installment loans. But we'll get to all of that. But you have to start somewhere, and usually people start with credit cards. Um, but first, you have to know where you are. There, once you look at your credit, it might be some things that there are on there that you can dispute. You know, that's inaccurate. But you know, otherwise, look at it. If it's late payments, you really can't. As far as I know, you can't really do anything about it. You can hire other companies to try to dispute them. I don't know. To me, that's a waste of money, but it may work for some people. Um, but you just as time goes by, those get less important, especially if you develop a pattern or a habit of paying everything on time from a certain point. Once they see that that's happening, then they can forget about a late payment that happened 5 years ago. So yeah, so check your credit, Credit Karma, and then get to work on fixing it or just changing your behavior um, to reflect a credit profile that you want to reflect, and one that will get you the things that you want in life instead of getting told no all the time. Okay,